Welcome back to the deep dive. So, if you've ever tried to swap a token on one chain for an asset that lives on a totally different one, you know the pain.
Oh, wait.
You're dealing with bridges, aggregators, trying to pick providers, maybe three separate transactions. It's a
It's the
mess.
core hurdle, I think, for every intermediate DeFi user.
Hmm.
The decentralized world is amazing, but, its complexity is its biggest
For
barrier.
sure.
You spend way more time managing the infrastructure than your actual portfolio.
Absolutely. And that pain point is exactly why we're doing a deep dive today into the technical and UX specs for the new StablePro Wallet multi-swap feature.
This is version 1.0, set for December 2025.
And the source documents we have lay out a really fascinating architectural solution.
Yeah, the whole mission of Multiswap is to basically hide that entire infrastructure layer. The design philosophy is all about two pillars,
Okay.
a chain-agnostic front end, and then this really intelligent routing that happens in the background.
So you just tell it what you want.
Exactly. You say what you want to buy, what you want to sell, and the system handles all of that cross-chain complexity completely invisibly.
It's like building a smooth highway over a very, very bumpy road. The documents list four core principles for this. First one, seamless UX. User picks the tokens, system finds the best route.
Second, and this is a big one, no technical decisions.
Right.
You're not picking a network, you're not choosing a provider, you're not messing with bridge mechanisms. All of that is shifted to the wallet.
Then third, they're promising transparent execution. This isn't some black box. Before you commit, you get a clear review screen that shows you exactly how it's all going to happen.
And fourth, real-time feedback during the swap itself.
Which is pretty necessary, right? Because as we'll get into, some of these swaps can take a few
A
minutes.
few minutes, yeah. You need to see what's happening.
Okay, so let's unpack this. And let's start where the user starts, the input flow. What kind of limits or, freedoms are they giving the user on that front end?
Well, the main freedom is scope. You can add up to 12 different swap pairs in a single go.
12. Wow.
Yeah, it's designed for, serious portfolio rebalancing.
Yeah.
You could sell 3 different stablecoins on 3 different chains to buy one big chunk of Solana, for instance.
And the system just handles that whole mixed environment.
It does.
And the UI itself, from the specs, seems designed for just ruthless clarity. It's mobile first, all about the assets, not the plumbing.
Exactly. I mean, they're obsessive about keeping that interface clean. They even use a deliberate color language.
Oh, right, I saw that.
Yeah, warning amber for the sell side to show you're, reducing an asset.
And then a success emerald for buy.
Right. It's this intentional visual cue, so you instantly know which way the trade is flowing.
And the token selector is a perfect example of hiding the complexity. You tap it, you see the icon and the symbol first.
But then there's that subtle network badge.
Just a little ETH or SL right next to it. It's there, but it doesn't get in the way.
It keeps the user focused on the financial decision, not the chain logistics. It's for someone who knows the token's value but is just tired of managing the network details.
Speaking of the end result, let's jump to screen 4, the conclusion. This is where you find out if it all worked.
Well, the ideal outcome is the success state. It gives you the total value swap, the exact fees, and how long it took.
But the really interesting part is the other state.
The partial failure state. Yeah, this is where the architectural robustness really comes through.
That state even existing tells me they knew how complex this could get. I mean, how tough is it to engineer a retry failed button that actually works safely?
Oh, extremely tough. It requires absolute state persistence. If you have 4 swaps and one fails, the system has to prove the other 3 are done.
Right.
And it has to remember the exact parameters of the one that failed so you can retry it without, messing anything up.
So the header might change to 3 of 4 swaps complete with a little warning icon.
But the key is that retry failed button for individual recovery.
That focus on recovery instead of a full reversal is so important for user trust. And I love the small detail on screen 4, the Save as Template button.
Yes. For someone who rebalances their portfolio every month, maybe selling some BTC for stablecoin, then buying ETH, that's huge.
The ultimate efficiency shortcut.
It is.
Okay, let's take a deep breath because now we're going under the hood. We are leaving that clean front end and getting into the intelligence that makes this all possible.
We're talking backend, the routing engine, the orchestrator, and the state manager.
So this is where it gets really interesting.
This is where user intent turns into an actual execution strategy. When you hit that review multi-swap button, it kicks off this 5-step logic flow.
Step 1 seems simple enough. User input, your list of token pairs and amounts.
Right, totally chain agnostic. Then step 2, the routing engine takes that raw request and immediately maps the source and destination chains for every single pair.
Okay, so it gets the lay of the land.
Then step 3, classification. And this is the critical decision point. This determines everything else that follows.
So how does it classify them?
It basically sorts all the swaps into 2 big buckets. The first is same-chain swaps.
So USDC to ETH, both on Ethereum.
Exactly. Both tokens on the same network. Those get routed through a native DX like Uniswap or Jupiter.
And what's the big advantage of grouping those together? Is it just about saving on gas?
It's primarily gas efficiency, yeah. These swaps can be cleverly batched into a single transaction.
So one fee instead of 5.
One fee instead of 5. It cuts down costs and it's fast.
Right.
We're talking like 15 to 30 seconds.
And then there's the other bucket, the headache, cross-chain swaps.
This is a whole different story. ETH on Ethereum to SOL on Solana.
Right.
These need an interoperability route, a bridge, or something similar. They absolutely cannot be batched with the others. Each one is a separate settlement.
And that's why the time jumps up so much, 1 to 5 minutes, depending on the chains, congestion, all that.
Yep. So after classification comes step 4, optimization. The system figures out what can be batched and what has to run in parallel.
And finally, step 5, it generates the execution plan.
The definitive plan.
Which brings us right back to the front end. Because that execution plan is what you see on screen 2, the review screen. I love that the internal docs call it the kitchen screen.
It's perfect, right. It's where you see how the engine cooked up your order. It really delivers on that transparent execution principle.
And swaps are grouped into these collapsible batch groups.
So you can see at a glance what the performance is going to be like, even before you hit commit.
The icons are great shorthand too, the little lightning bolt for same-chain batches.
It means it's going to be fast and cheap.
And the globe icon for cross-chain.
That tells you it's a longer, more complex process involving a bridge or an aggregator.
And this all connects directly to the provider strategy, right? There are 6 integrated providers, but they're not all used for everything.
No, they're used very selectively based on that same chain versus cross-chain classification.
So let's look at the simple routes first. For same-chain swaps, it's the big native DTEXs.
The workhorses. Uniswap on Ethereum, Jupiter on Solana, PancakeSwap on BNB chain. Simple, deep liquidity, proven.
But for the cross-chain stuff, it's a 3-tier priority list, and Kima is at the top.
Yeah, Kima is a primary. For anyone who doesn't know, it's an institutional-grade network focused on native asset transfer, so it's very reliable.
And that's why it gets priority for the big ones, BTC, ETH, SOL, BNB. Typical time is 1 to 3 minutes. That's really fast for cross-chain.
Extremely valuable. Then the second tier is Thorchain. It's the alternative, especially for tricky things like native BTC swaps without wrapping.
But the documents had a pretty big warning here. Thorchain can be super variable.
Highly variable. It can be 1 minute, but the docs specify a maximum completion time of up to 60 minutes.
An hour. Wow.
That time variance is key. And then finally, the fallback is LIFI.
They're the aggregator.
Right, they're a DX and bridge aggregator. So they step in to cover any routes or pairs that Kima doesn't support, usually 2 to 5 minutes. It's a layered approach to make sure a route is almost always found.
Okay, so let's talk about the orchestrator. The system has classified the swaps, it's picked the routes, it knows the speeds. How does it manage the timing of all this?
This is the genius of the orchestrator. We know same-chain swaps can be batched. But if you have same-chain swaps on different chains or any cross-chain swaps, those are all executed in parallel.
So they don't block each other. My Ethereum swap can finish in 30 seconds even if my Solana swap is still running for another minute.
Exactly. They're independent settlements running at the same time, but the orchestrator also has to manage dependencies.
Right. If the output of swap A is the input for swap B.
Precisely. If you sell ETH to get USDC and then immediately use that USDC to buy something else, those two have to run sequentially, one after the other.
That makes sense. It's like a recipe. You can't frost the cake before it's baked.
And the orchestrator manages that chain automatically so you don't have to split up your order. All this coordination is then reflected on screen 3, the live execution screen.
Which is basically the status board. You see real-time updates for every single swap pending, in progress, complete, failed.
Whether it's in a batch or running in parallel.
And there's a crucial technical detail here. During execution, the system uses something called the wake lock API to stop the phone's screen from going to sleep.
That's a subtle but essential detail.
Yeah.
You do not want your phone locking up and interrupting a 5-minute cross-chain settlement.
Well, definitely no.
It ensures you stay connected and get those status updates until everything is finalized.
Which brings us back to the reality of DeFi. Things fail. Networks get congested, prices move suddenly. How does the system handle this without, causing a panic?
The error handling is all about giving you immediate human-readable feedback and a clear way to recover. So if you get E001, insufficient balance.
It doesn't just say error.
No, it says not enough token. You need Y more. The recovery is simple. Edit the amount or just remove that pair.
What about if the routing fails completely?
That's E002. No route found. It means for whatever reason, liquidity or bridges, the path just doesn't exist right now. So it suggests an alternative token or just removing it.
And then there's the big volatility one, E004, slippage exceeded.
Yeah, the system just stops and throws up a warning. Price impact is 5.2%. Proceed anyway. It forces you to consciously accept that risk.
And for just common network congestion, you get E005, transaction failed, with a simple retry button.
Which relies on that persistence mechanism we talked about. That's the real safety net. The partial execution handling guarantees that if 3 of your 5 swaps succeed, they're final.
The funds are safe.
The successful funds are in their destination. The failed swaps are just flags so you can retry them individually later. You're never stuck in limbo.
And what ensures that all this state, the failed IDs, the partial batches, doesn't just vanish if the app crashes?
That's the data persistence layer. The state manager saves the entire execution state to local storage in a database. Drafts are actually auto-saved every 5 seconds.
So even if your app closes during that 60-minute Thorchain swap,
You can reopen it, and the system knows exactly where it was and what still needs to be done.
Okay, so let's zoom back out. StablePro Multiswap achieves this goal of no technical decisions by layering all this complex intelligence in the background. The routing engine, the orchestrator, that multi-tiered provider strategy.
The key takeaway for you, the listener, is really understanding that all these pieces are engineered to save you cognitive load, time, and gas, to make this fragmented DeFi world finally feel, unified.
It is the definition of abstracting away complexity. And the system is built not just for the happy path, but crucially, to handle dependencies and failures, even over these potentially long execution windows.
The persistence is the promise. It's the system saying, we know this might take a while, but we guarantee we won't lose your place.
We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.